welcome to MetaTripping, y'all. I'm finally getting this video up. I do apologize for the delay. There were the technical difficulties, and I got thrown off a little bit just managing like daily life and processing the high frequency downloads that came through. And you know when that happens, like a lot of, and it felt like a lot of collective energy, like big time on major levels got shaken up. And so, you know, if you're finding it challenging to process this, you know, for some people it can manifest as temper flare-ups, headaches, and that's usually if there's a blockage, it's kind of preventing the flow of the high-frequency energy. Even the resident feline god is, like, tripping right now. You all right, baby? I had to get a hold of my energy because it was like something, it was being pulled out, which, you know, something I've had to become accustomed to in this life and then adjust to when it happens. I'm not getting as angry about it as I used to anymore. Like the temptation can sometimes be there, but I'm just realizing like it's just part of the process. Like when folks are wounded, they're pulling for energy. I think it's just, you know, like really basic. And when I'm able to take it out of the lens of how it affects me on a personal level, I can sidestep the ego, which, you know, like I had to do today. And I'm so glad I did. And props to Spirit and the Star Crown card and the Heartlight card. Those are the two cards I worked with. I was like, okay, look, I need to get in my heart consciousness. I got to get there quickly. I got to change this wave. And Star Crown, you know what I'm saying, came out as a good card to use. So it's really helping me to tap into that 7D energy wave that Earth is enjoying in October. And it's so necessary, y'all, because look, as with what y'all are about to hear, I kind of managed to bumble my way around explaining it when those deep wave energies were happening. I was having like a lot of psychic experiences, so my apologies if some of that came through unclear. But when we talk about tapping into like different aspects of our quantum embodiment, different, you know, abilities at varying degrees, there's also skill level of how you work with it. And because it's like a spiritual road, how we work with the energies is going to have a lot to do with our wisdom, which is why, like, when there's a lot of self-righteousness coming up, you know what I'm saying, for anyone or through different media channels, indie or mainstream media, it's a good indication that there's high-frequency energy is like trying to be processed, but through a lens of good and bad, through a dualistic lens. You know, typically, like a really solid way to look at this dynamic is the superhero and the villain archetype. And in that archetype, you have here two different folks shaken by some trauma that shook a kind of magnanimous level, you know, like out of them or into their awareness. And they decide that they have a plight that's going to affect the collective. For the superhero, it's to rescue the collective. For the villain, it's to, I think a lot of times in their mind, to wake the collective up to their errors and to do it through whatever jacked up means. You know, they might be inclined to do it through. But it's all kind of rooted in trauma. And how we process trauma and how we process power, and if we choose to kind of be in a sharing place with it, or in a really self-righteous place, which the irony there is like you'll have a lot of like light worker types being very self-righteous and finger pointing and all of that, not realizing that that's the villain's role. That's the villain's role, y'all. It is, just simple and plain. When we're processing our personal hurts, and it's like the more honest we are with ourselves, the more we're rewarded with wisdom, and where we made certain choices out of shadow or ignorance to certain pains within ourselves, where we were triggered and reacted and what have you, and we have the opportunity to become enlightened, more so enlightened, every time something like that happens, because we're able to recover aspects of ourselves from the grip of ignorance, or from the grip of, well, this person started that, and so this is what I hit him with, type of binary ping pong cycle. So, if you're finding yourself around people who are getting caught up in that, or you yourself are getting caught up in that, it happens. It happens on the spiritual journey. But I think it's always what I find to be extremely helpful, really, for sticking to personal integrity, what your authentic heart view is, and your integrity in that. You walking your talk and really being about that life according to what you truly feel or, feel you believe, is who are you when no one's looking? You know what I mean? It tells you a lot, because then you can catch yourself and you don't have to judge yourself. We really got to get out of that, I feel. And, I'm not trying to act like the authority on anything, but it really, it's to me, one of the main roots of the problems that people enduring the judgment, aka evil eye rays coming from other people, reacting to it, it just creates division, period. And it doesn't mean everything has to be so deeply enmeshed that it's a kumbaya song every single day. We have the right to our private spheres, we have the right to our boundaries. But I just think it's, when people get the mic, or they find themselves in a position, you know what I'm saying, where they either want more influence or they have influence, and it's now it's kind of show thy hind time. And it's I don't know. You know what I mean? The spiritual journey it's deep, y'all, and there's a lot of pain typically involved in it for a reason, but the more honest we are with the process, the more the rewards become, it becomes clear that it works for both, just outside of duality, coming from a place of honesty, and, as much as possible, making it a practice, you know what, I'm not feeling a social event today, and just being honest with yourself on that is going to save everybody a whole bunch of headache, or you having to kind of smile your way through something that is just, you were just not happy with at that moment, because maybe you need to process or catch up on sleep, maybe work's been taking a lot out of you, whatever have you, or whatever the situation is. I kind of just pulled that one out of thin air. The more honest we are with ourselves, the less we feel the need to be all light workery and finger pointy at the villains. It can come up. We need to talk about the things that hurt us. We need to, it's great to be able to process that with others who comprehend and understand. But I think if we get too caught up in that, y'all, then it's just another trap. It's just another trap. And then it's a trap with power and psychic ability. And it can really go on to be not cute when you're dealing with astral level consciousness. So I did want to, it really does kind of touch on these abilities that are awakening in people. And some of the megalomania that I feel I low-key, kind of experienced earlier with someone. And it was humbling because, for me, I tend to check myself to be okay, so what did I do to cause this? What did I miss? But that's empath life, you know what I'm saying? And it's also survivor life, where the tendency to blame oneself because someone's, at a very vulnerable time, or unfortunately more than once, someone projected their shadow onto you when you were vulnerable, and it wasn't, your fault, whatever the situation was. It was just to shut you up so they didn't have to look at their infringement upon your boundaries. So I think, in the process of healing from that, and then kind of watching that intentional ignorance that can come up when people are processing high frequency energy and they have an ego limit. that they can't see beyond because they have their own trauma that they're really going to have to start doing work on, or they can get caught up in this idea that they're the special one, or they're the, because light workers such as myself, you know what I mean? Like, it's a trip, y'all. Like, this whole this whole process. You know what I'm saying? It's a trip. So, everyone out there, be gentle with yourselves. I'm not trying to come at anyone in any kind of way, but it's just something I wanted to bring up because it's helpful. Like, if for those who are really, 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 really serious about their path, there's going to be some hard work and some, self-analysis to take part in. Kind of like, when folks end up in abusive relationships and it's like, okay, well, where did I err here? Well, you rejected yourself, but until you're ready to look at that, you might find yourself, like, protecting the other person. Like, I just literally had, and this was not a dramatically, like, I don't even know if you could put it in the realm of, like, abuse on, where you would apply that word to it, but, I recently had, was having just a regular conversation, like, just on a female-to-female level, and I came too close to being like, girl, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not even, your position to have to be in, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to deal with all that, and that's really all that I was, kind of coming at it with. I wasn't coming at the partner that, came up in our little fun, because it was a fun vent session, like, we were cracking jokes and whatnot. But I noticed, like, even though the waves didn't get, riddled with conflict, she quickly was like, yeah, but, I know that, her mind sensed, oh, okay, this is where I have to make an excuse for this person who, you know what I'm saying, could be taking advantage. When you're not ready to see different things, whether it's in that context or whatever context, we can find ourselves becoming hyper-defensive. So, there are different indicators we can utilize to see if there's, like, a particularly stealthy wound, or, like a wound that's, like, really deep in hiding, so we can liberate ourselves from it, because, like, these waves have been, like, they're outer waves, they're different, they feel different to me, and I'm noticing some effects that it's having on folks, and, just do your best to bring yourself back to your heart and the light in your heart, like where you're at when you kind of have to bring that star player to the forefront of your consciousness. Because there are folks who have been struggling in this process, and they may not be aware of it at all. And they're on their own path and own journey, but you got to take care of you and your boundaries and make sure you're okay so that you don't get sucked into someone else's void that has nothing to do with anything but the pain that they have not consciously really and truly admitted to themselves that they need to heal. Because these types of things are going to happen. When we don't want to get pulled into someone's matrix, to another person's matrix, and influenced and puppeted and, made kind of a thing from that person's view, just different levels of the narcissist dilemma that some folks might deal with. And that person doesn't even have to be a narcissist on that scale. You know what I'm saying? But, like, that is narcissism when you can't see your own shadow. But you consistently operate out of it from a sense of feeling special. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to leave it there, y'all. I don't know. I don't want to, I want to stay in really high vibrational waves, and I feel like this line of talk is dangerous territory for me today, because I really want to remain kind of objective, especially since that was the advice that came through with the monthly. Remain objective. And by the way, I do plan on continuing to put the monthlies out there, folks, so it's not... even if the weeklies are going to go onto like another platform, when I start to re-engage them, I do intend to continue doing the monthlies, because it's helpful to know, like, what energetics are going to be at play during what is an agreed upon span of time in any given collective, because there are things that are going to come up, and there's certain advice of things are going to come up probably repeatedly in that time frame, and knowing where the safe zones are, where the energetic safe zones are, like, oh, no, this is a rest month, girl, go to sleep. Or like, bro, go commune with nature. You need to go for a run. You need to get out of your head and get into your act. Whatever it is, it's like, it's that way. You know what I'm saying? The solution is that way, because there's chaotic energies that have been coming up, and we want to keep our waves right. You know, I think a lot of us, we want to keep our waves right so this doesn't get so confusing that it's not navigable, right? I don't know. So those are just my thoughts. So now we're going to move on to the special shiny graduation and reward type of points that came through on the 19th, and these skill levels and these new things that are being built and that are happening with kind of those with Starcestry. You know what I'm saying? In the star systems that I've had some level of connection with to channel the information. I hope this is useful to you. If you have any questions, I can, feel free to pop them into the comments, or, and someone else in the comments may also, if you feel like you have an answer for that, like, please feel free to share. And when I come through, I can certainly answer them in the comments, or I could put it in, another video after communing with spirit and maybe getting a little more math on it or whatever. But just, enjoy the up-leveling aspects. We have real opportunities here to go really high, even if it is still, like high binary. If you're kind of staying in certain types of waves, I'm finding like it's easier than it was to not get caught up. Like, once you realize what's happening, because really, like, we're dealing with like expansion, contraction, and then you're gonna have, situations where people might be dealing with traumas and they're not comfortable at that moment, and they might cause some ripples in the waves. And knowing how to deal with that, especially when some of those people might be powerful, have come into certain, especially trauma-based, you know what I'm saying? Like, that translates when you come up to higher binary. Like, it translates to certain levels of abilities, but then you want to have enough wisdom to, not be like, if someone discovers they can set things on fire, you know what I'm saying, with their mind. This is probably the worst example to put out there, but like, you need to have the wisdom and discernment not to go around doing that unless it's like wartime. Just basic superhero versus villain type, perils type stuff. Oh man, that's probably the worst example. But honestly, I really don't feel like censoring myself or editing that. Y'all get the point. I'm not seriously talking about people out here developing that level of what have you. And if it were to happen at a high density, then it would be happening like really because there was no other choice. If you're dealing with like really a starseed who's in their focus and is weighing and balancing with discernment what action needs to be taken at any given time, depending on the urgency level of whatever threat. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I don't know, y'all. I don't want to censor myself anymore today. But there's like that part of me is like, girl, you better go edit that out. Y'all get the point. I'm about to just go ahead. Y'all, people, those, if we're on the path and we're doing the work, then, we'll utilize these things that are coming through, with wisdom and with good intention, you know what I'm saying, towards self and towards others. I think when you have good intentions truly have good intentions towards yourself, and you're not masking, you naturally have good intentions towards others, right? All right, y'all, I really am going to wrap it up for this intro. Probably put a little warning if you don't want to hear me go on and on. Feel free to fast forward to the actual readings. Okay, so it's in the order of Arcturian, Orion, and Andromedan to my recollection, but I will put the timestamps in so you can go in the description box if you do feel like you want to fast forward to any particular focus. Thank you so much for tuning in, y'all. Peace and blessings on your journey. Arcturians, all right. Shuffle the deck. Ooh, this card tried to jump out. You are worthy. Spirit's telling me not to pull it. All right. So, you're synthesizing energies that have to do with your heart light, your awareness of the think, feel, and embody process, of the frequency and vibration involved in that, and live your dreams. All right, y'all? The datura flower, so Spirit is giving me to, like, you can go and get a picture of a datura flower, and kind of, just a moment. It's looking like the bedroom is probably a good spot for it. Maybe because that's where you would zone out a little bit before falling asleep and that sort of thing. The Spirit's confirming, like, yeah, somewhere where you can look at it, before you fall asleep for the night. And also throughout the day. All right. Just a moment while I get a beat on these energies. Think, feel, and body is what's drawing me first. And since, these are energies you're synthesizing, all right, this is something that you're going to kind of with the, just a moment. With the crown chakra, like the mid-level area of the crown chakra, there's a light waking up. It's like a, it's like, I won't say like a sunrise, but it's like it kind of looks like that in a way, the way the light is coming through. It's been like asleep for about I don't know, like 2,000 years is what's coming through Spirit. Its function being shown like mother images, you know what I'm saying, or nurturer and baby images. Just a moment while I figure this out. Well, figure it out wouldn't be correct. I'm sensing it out. But the energy is definitely coming through differently than it did with the other star systems. So it is about leading, being in a lead position with children. Being an inspiration to them. The card, the dimensional focus is 9D, so this has a lot to do with identity. Okay, so these are, okay, I get it. I see what's being said. Okay, so these are children who you can identify with based on the struggles that you yourself have endured, especially in a way where you were without that sense of nurturing that you needed as a child. Especially, you know what I'm saying, in relation to these hardships that you experience. hardships that are associated with feeling out of place, you know, and needing to find a remedy for that, you know, to survive. So this is tapping into, you know, how it affected finances and that sort of thing. So, like, you know, the from birth to adulthood, like this wound. Y'all have healed it. Okay, so yeah, because I was shown an image of like someone passing like a baton, and I checked, you know, to make sure before I say it, and yeah, it's like you're passing the baton. Of the light codes that you've developed, actually like light and dark codes that you've developed, out of your own experience. So your own personal formula for overcoming persecution. All right, y'all? Big deal. Big deal. It's like a big part of the reason you came down here. It's like most of you, Spirit is saying, came down here for that. All right, Spirit's directing me to Heartlight. This was like affecting your receiving aspect. Attacking, you know, those negative experiences were attacking your reception aspect. You know, like if you had an antenna, how you would have to learn to process information through that antenna. Kind of after like disruptive energies tried to interfere with your signal, like your ability to receive your signals, right? So this heartlight energy, just a moment. So this heartlight energy was a beacon for several generations. And it was absorbed. Alright, it was absorbed. The heartlight card, oh, sorry, y'all. It's a 40 card, and that's really what the Datura is attached to, the Datura flower. And it's like that heartlight energy got woven into another system, but really it's another universe. I'm being shown all these like celebration energy symbols, like party symbols. All right. And now that that's safe, now that it's functional, you know, the purpose for that. The result of that. Now that the result of that is safe, I'm being directed to the Live Your Dreams card. Sacred Dreamer is a subtext here. Oh, really quick, the Heartlight energy it's a renewal energy. So there's something to that. So, okay, Spirit is allowing me to say, like, that really quick before we go to Live Your Dreams, the Heartlight energy that got woven into another system, another universe, was to, it was to, hold on. It was to bring in guardian energies to establish. It was to establish guardian energies. All right, so we're going to leave it there. Live your dreams. That sacred dreamer energy. It's a 10D energy. Just a moment. I'm seeing how the energies in here are operating. It's like you're being acknowledged. For helping to facilitate the rebuilding another level of cognition. All right. It's like waking another aspect of the brain, another level of cognition. Activating, really. And so as a result of all of this, you're feeling pretty good about yourselves, and that's beautiful. I'm feeling kind of a lightening type of energy in my chest. It's odd, but pleasantly. So about half, I guess, of the Arcturians that were involved in this process. A little more than half. Mm-hmm. Did the work that you agreed to, even through kind of the worst of hardships, More were expected. More were expected to succeed. But what's taken place is enough. It's adequate. Interruption was anticipated, y'all. So the universe's appreciation, the multiverse's appreciation, of your service and your genius. Just a moment. Okay, so it's like you are the acknowledgement, the appreciation is what's coming out of that, or the way it's being shown to you. Please forgive me. It's a different way of reading for me, so a little bit just how it's coming through. It's coming through like that now you have this this influence that is expanded as a result. Because you've proven yourselves worthy. Of holding that frequency. And it's like, it's in that live your dreams wave, that sacred dreamer energy. So some of you are probably going to be having dreams of like reuniting with soul partners, or reuniting with soul partners on the dream realm, on like another level of the dream realm. Like a protected level of the dream realm. Woo! Good job. We're number 17 is showing up here, and super impressive, super impressive. So you're being instructed that, when we have these different shifts, these purge processes, if you will, to clear out your heart. Of any lingering anger from the experience, of persecution, because a lot of you went through it heavy. So when you're dealing in binary, the harder and more challenging the work, the experience, in this case of being like ostracized, persecuted for, you know what I'm saying, your difference, is now you get to see the other, Spirit is acknowledging that's correct. Now you get to see the other end of that, which is richly, what's the word that I am looking for this feeling? Like richly renewing, I guess, but I believe it's another word, but that's probably a decent word to use, a good word to use, Spirit says, to describe it. So you're getting back what was taken from you on that level, and then some. Energetically, and on a social level. All right. Those of you who may not have necessarily succeeded, there's kind of a hyper focus of, wanting to go back and retrace steps and figure out where, you just didn't, make the choices that were good for the all. You know what I'm saying? So like about half of the number that didn't kind of reach that level of success level, it was about that. It was about the choices that you were presented with, where based on what you chose, was it going to benefit the all, or was it just going to benefit how you felt you looked at the time? And the other half, you kind of like gave too much of yourself. And the way that I guess you'll be working, with your energies now, there's going to be a lot of purge work, and they're showing me the chest. It looks like it's going to be... So you're going to be filtering out all that negative energy you took in. And it could be a bit of a, challenging, bit of a painful process, because that's collective energy you're channeling through your heart. There's very good news, though. Once you channel all that out, your energy is going to act as a beacon. So that's for like the 25% of you who gave too much. It's going to act as a beacon. It's going to act as a beacon to those who got lost, who are still truly invested. So being told that's good enough. Invested in the process of that, this process that's good for the collective. So those of you who are still really focused on the mission that you signed up for, even if you're feeling like you got a bit lost and you feel like you didn't kind of hit that success point, the others who stayed, albeit, in an overboard way in the process, and really kind of took too much of the, that negativity in, when all of that energy is cleared out of the heart chakra, it's going to act as a beacon to you. And those that are no longer interested in servicing the collective, there isn't a message left. In a very tightly sealed way, I'm being shown like there's nothing to say about that in this transmission. We're basically focusing. It's what I'm being given to extend is this process that this reading is talking about is touching on those who are in service to the collective. And so some of y'all are experiencing a certain level of graduation, and others of y'all you're like one class behind, so to speak, if we would put it in school terms. All right, so I'm being told that this is your reading. You're being given a thank you for your service. Mm-hmm. Your activations now are replenishing because you did a lot of work. All right, so enjoy that. All right, thank you so much for tuning in, Arcturians. I'm going to move on now. Wow, I was just quickly looking at some notes, and some of what just came through is written from a previous, channel, and I didn't even remember that. All right. Orion. Just a moment. Alright, so you're dealing with like a binary focus, y'all, and it is having to do with, there's a synthesizing card, Love is Waiting for You, that both of these energies that you're dealing with, a binary, going up in energy and then coming down and grounding that energy, or embodying that energy, that it is synthesizing that process, and what comes out of that process is synthesizing that love is, the state of awareness that love is waiting for you, and that let it in sort of, you've already done it. You've already let it in. All right? And it's in a certain position where it's touching on the part of you that in the past spent so much time analyzing. How to be loved. But now it's just flowing. It's like you passed that level, so to speak. Okay, so I'm being told you let go. I'm sorry. You let go of, controlling or attempting to control what you receive from others. You let that go. And as a result, and this is like all of you, Orions, like you did it. Wow, congratulations. All right, I'm being directed to do what is good for you. Take flight. This is, okay, I guess the dimensional focus is not so important right here. It's not really needing to be mentioned, but let me see what the energies coming through this card are. You're realizing there's more to you than you've been allowed to know. I'm being directed to Power Spark. This is it's a motivation card. Associated with the fire element. So you're coming into a point where you self-rejuvenate based on your awareness that you have this capacity to self-rejuvenate. And this capacity to self-rejuvenate, as you increase kind of your wield over it, it synthesizes with the state of where you let go of this need to control social situations, where you could just realize that love is waiting for you and let it in. It's synthesizing with that in a way that's like, you're really learning to follow your heart in social situations more, as opposed to following trauma responses. I guess the way this is going to be affecting y'all moving forward, because of your because you succeeded in this process, this highly disorienting mission that you embarked upon. You're now achieving a level of confidence, where you can be entrusted with higher level information and access. which allows you to kind of change certain things from like the outer level waves. When you see that there's a true need for it. All right, y'all, this is amazing. So you've been entrusted with another level of authority, Orions. Because you can be trusted. Spirit, well, it's coming through like they always knew you could be trusted. But you've proven it now to yourself. So now you get to see more of what your function is. Which is more than you would have ever imagined in the human construct mind. A lot of this process is taking place on a level that isn't going to affect your body consciousness, kind of in the same obvious ways that shifts and purges and what have tended to do for other star systems. It'll more so affect your heart consciousness and the waves you send out. All right, y'all. This is another short one, primarily because that is the message that they have for you. Okay, well, also they're saying get lots of sleep. Because you're assimilating higher wave energies. And that is for another reading. What that's about is for another reading. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. And peace and blessings on your ascension journey. All right. Andromedans. Hold on. Synthesis. All right. You guys are synthesizing two primary energies. They come out as Paradise Manifest and Follow Synchronicities. So we're going to look at this the way Spirit is directing me through a divine masculine and divine feminine lens. Okay, so the qualities that you're each carrying are going to affect the other. So this is, exchange? Yeah, so the exchange of energies is going to affect the other. And the divine masculine consciousness is Paradise Manifest. Right? And this is about flourishing within. Okay? It's a 6D card. It's about being able to see the fruition of all of your dreams that are in high resonance. Dandelion is a flower that's coming. That's part of the card, so it's coming through as this is. You can even eat the dandelion greens, and that's going to help to increase your ability to receive the higher resonance. The divine feminine energies are dealing with follow synchronicities. And the subtext here is you are guided. So let me just a moment. You're speaking with spirit. And I'm seeing like a floating in the astral kind of thing going on. Like, y'all remember Leah's video, We Need a Resolution? I think it was We Need a Resolution. And she was floating. You know what I'm saying? It's that, you know, on her back just floating. It's that kind of thing that they're showing me. What you'll be transmitting from this in this exchange with your counterpart is a gate. You'll be exchanging like access to some kind of gateway. The more you exchange with one another, basically, the more you'll have access to this gateway. You know, and the more of this gateway you'll have access to, basically, of its energies. Some of you might be having minor headaches. The divine masculines especially. Remember, the divine masculine energy can be both the divine masculine energy we all have within, so to speak, type of energy. So in your case, it would be like either the energy within or the energy of your sacred embodiment of the divine masculine, and for the divine feminine, and vice versa for the divine feminine's energy. So you can kind of help, you can work with these, you know, kind of get past like that, the headache level by going into a state of receptivity from your crown chakra to allow these higher resonance frequencies to come in. And you might feel like waves of ecstasy as a result, you know. The divine feminine, the way it could be acting with you. It's like you'll be seeing how things play out from it looks like a really, I don't know if expanded is the right word, vantage point. An outer level vantage point. You'll be seeing how things, you know, unfold, play out in advance. And you're going to be able to communicate that without fear. So like this could even, like, you know, how people have liked to say, use the word prophets. This could even fall in that line of work. So the more you do this work, the more information, you know what I'm saying, that's going to be given to you. All right? Again, I apologize. I know this is on the shorter end, but it's literally what they have to relay, and there isn't anything else. So working on synthesizing these energies. So basically, for the divine feminine, overcoming your fears of it, you know, overcoming previous fears of sharing what you pick up, you know, about unfolding situations. Yep, okay. Since you've already achieved that, now it's going to increase, and the more you share, basically the more you keep giving the message, the more information you're going to receive. Okay? So this is where you can really honor your gift. Because it's a gift to the worlds, plural, worlds. and the divine masculine, paradise manifest. As you continue to learn to overcome the instinct to close your mind, and this is due to certain different childhood traumas that you underwent, you will come into a resonance that is at a level of like supreme wellness. And the waves that kind of come off you are going to raise groups of people up into a higher resonance. So this is like major, y'all. Major, 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 major. Peace and blessings. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this was helpful. As different starseed messages come in, or, really when I'm given the prompting, when the timing for it is right, I will post them on a channel. If you are interested in receiving notifications of when those come in, because it's not, at this point, it hasn't been like a weekly thing. It's just when it comes through, when it's time. You can click notifications. If you're not subscribed already, I don't know that you can get notifications, but those of you who are interested in subscribing to receiving the content, if you click the notification bell, it will make sure that when something is posted, you get some sort of alert. That way, you know what I'm saying? If it's not a matter of you forgetting to check and then, missing a message when it comes through, a message that might be able to kind of help you during a time where, different star systems are sending information out to you. All right. Again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I appreciate y'all. And peace and blessings on your ascension journey.